Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our session on building immunity. Today, our speaker, we have Dr. Vaidya Archana Vardhan, who is joining us from Virginia. Archana Vardhan, thank you so much for joining us today. I know that it's pretty early in the morning there in Virginia. It's about 5 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time, and doing this session for us. I'd like to briefly introduce Dr. Archana, and then I'll hand over the session to her, and she'll start with a presentation. Dr. Vaidya Archana Vardhan brings a wealth of practical experience from her 12 years of clinical practice in the United States. She earned her degree in Ayurvedic medicine from the State Ayurvedic College in Lucknow, her post-graduation diploma in clinical research from the Institute of Clinical Research India, ICRI. She has served as a medical officer in government services and as a research fellow at the prestigious Medanta, the Medicity in Gurgaon, India. And post that, she served as an Ayurvedic physician at Natural Wellness 360 in Virginia, USA. And Vaidya Archana Vardhan has a recent and current experience in both Western and Ayurvedic medicine, and a decade of experience in treating patients, and her ever inquisitive search for knowledge through research makes her an ideal natural medicine Vaidya for our society. Dr. Archana, thank you so much for joining in again.
Thank you, Shiva.
Over to you. Please start with your presentation.
Hello, everyone. This is Vaidya Archana, and Mr. Shiva has given a nice introduction of mine. Maybe he has given a more of what I don't deserve to, but yes. So today's presentation is about immunity in 2022. We all are dealing with COVID-19. Still, there is a new variant every time. Now and then, something or the other is mutating and coming over and affecting us physically, mentally, and all sorts of things. So this immunity word has kind of highlighted, or it has become a kind of very popular word, I would say, in past 2 years. People have really paid attention to it, and they are really, really worried about how they can prevent themselves from the upcoming viruses. Because as such, there is no treat which has been found. Vaccine has been invented and people have taken vaccine. Despite of those vaccines, also people are getting COVID. They're getting symptoms of COVID. They're getting affected by this virus. So how can we attain this immunity? Because this virus is going nowhere. It will be there with us. So we have to live with it. So either we live with it nicely or we live with it suffering with the symptoms of the virus. So the better option is that to fight with it. How can we fight with this virus? We can fight with this virus by building a good immunity. So there has been a lot of news, lot of information over the WhatsApp and Facebook. This has become a new Google, I think, right now. Each day, every now and then, there is a news coming. Take this, take that, take what. So people are getting kind of overwhelmed and kind of confused, what is the right way or right thing to adapt so that we can have a good immunity and a good lifestyle. So over here, I'm presenting how we can attain immunity and what is immunity in Ayurvedic perspective. So let's see how we go ahead. So today, what are we going to learn is immunity from an Ayurvedic perspective. What do you mean by immunity in Ayurveda? What are the ways to get optimal immunity? What is gut health and why it is important? Aama and agni. These are the terms which I'll be presenting in detail in my presentation today, because these are the main topics which I'll be discussing. What is Dinacharya and what is ritucharya, and how can we attain immunity at home? So this presentation is basically a guideline. It is in Ayurveda, it is said that it is everybody is different. So it is an individual approach. So please, for those who are sick or those who are unhealthy, please don't immediately start what has been instructed over here. Consult the, I would say, the physician or the Ayurvedic physician or the practitioner before following any guidelines. This is in terms of the healthy individual. So what is an immunity? It is not going ahead. So as we all know, what do you mean by immunity? in English or in modern perspective, it is the ability of an organism to resist a particular infection or toxin by the action of specific antibodies or sensitized white blood cells. This we all know. Now, I'll be talking in detail about what is immunity in terms of Ayurvedic perspective. In Ayurveda, it is called as vydhishamatva. If we break this word into two, it is vyadi and chamat. Vyadi, as we know, is a disease, and chamat is the resistance to the disease. So Vydhishamatva is nothing, is the capacity of the body to resist the disease. So this resistance is basically of two kinds. What which attenuate the manifested disease and others which prevents the manifestation of a disease. So what do you mean by this? Vydhishamatva acts in two ways. It acts in two ways, meaning it has a role in preventative and curative aspect. Preventative means it prevents the body, or it prevents us from the incoming foreign materials, as we say, viruses, bacteria, or whatever infection. And if somehow we get disease, so body has to fight with this disease, and that is a curative aspect. As we have seen, like there are so many people in this world, some are getting affected by COVID, some are seriously getting affected by COVID, and some are not at all getting affected by COVID virus. This is all because of response, our body's response towards that virus. So this response, this immediate response or protective response is basically our vydhishamatva. So health is residing on this aspect of strength. By making simple lifestyle modification, or by, I would say, by tweaking the lifestyle and daily living, we can transform our life in a very, very good way. Like, you don't have to make major changes. Little changes, little changes, slowly, gradually, you can proceed towards getting a good lifestyle and a greater immunity. So we have learned in modern aspect that it is a resistant to the disease. Whereas in Ayurveda, that Vydhishamatva has been detailed, like apart from that, apart from giving immunity or apart from giving the preventative and curative aspect, it gives us the pleasant mental disposition, mind free of depression and anxiety. Because with this COVID, like people are getting stressed, and there is an unknown fear, which is basically attacking or which is residing in everybody and every individual these days. Because if somebody sneezes, for instance, so people, they kind of get, oh my goodness, is he or she suffering from COVID? So this fear basically, kind of makes an individual more susceptible to the disease, or I would say he comes into that risk zone. It improves health. Yes, it balances doshas. So today I won't be going detailed into doshas because it's another chapter, it's another topic in detail. But these doshas are nothing but these are fundamental energies or the bioenergies which reside in a system and control the system. So Vata, Pitta, and Kapha basically which are controlling. So Vata you can relate to the central nervous system. Pitta you can relate to the metabolic. Digestive system is controlled by all the transformational energy or all the transformation which is going on at cellular or physical or mental level is controlled by Pitta. And Kapha is basically the potential energy, the reserve energy of a body. So in short, I'm just telling you, but you have to keep the balance of the doshas, because either of the balance is disturbed or the equilibrium is not there in the body, you are prone to get disease or you're prone to get affected. Yes, Vydhishamatva also has a role in inhibiting the effect of disease. It heals wounds. And other synonym of this word is Ojas and Bala. So this Ojas and Bala, you must have been heard, like people must be talking about this. What, like this Ojas, what do you mean by this Ojas? So Bala is the strength. And this is kind of like, this is of three types. Like one, you have the innate immunity that you get by birth. One is when you get during the seasons. Like during the seasons also, like the immunity or the strength of the body goes up and down. I'll be discussing this in detail when we'll be discussing ritucharya. And when you acquire. So how do you acquire the immunity? You acquire by making simple changes, simple lifestyle changes, and shifting your lifestyle from unhealthy way to a healthier way. Ojas. Now we'll come to Ojas. What do you mean by Ojas? So Ojas is nothing but it is the essence of all the body tissues. If your Ojas is good, your immunity is good. So it is directly proportional to your immunity. If in your body, the Ojas is depleting, so you can just think that your immunity is going towards the downward side. So what is Ojas? So when there's a metabolism going on, the end result of this metabolism is the essence of Ojas. So now we can know is like how important for us is to maintain the metabolism, for how important for us is to maintain a good lifestyle and a good healthy eating habits. This is basically the reserve energy. When in crisis, it comes into action and helps us and protects us from the viruses or the other infections which are coming in our surroundings or which affects our environment. One episode of anger or grief burns away the urges. Today, this mental aspect has also become highlighted. People are only worried about their physical attribute. Nobody is thinking about the mental attribute. But yes, we as a body are composition of physical and mental aspect. So we cannot ignore that mental aspect. We have to take that into consideration because it somewhere affects our body. So we have learned what is immunity, what is Ojas. Now we will see how we can attain this immunity. So there's an interesting thing which I'll be discussing today is like gut health. So you must be wondering like why all of a sudden this gut health has come, because I was talking about immunity and now the gut health. So I told you like this result of metabolism is the essence of Ojas. So this metabolism is directly linked to our digestive system. If we eat good, if our gut is healthy, obviously the metabolism, the processing, the assimilation and absorption of the food which will take place, which will result into a good essence, or the essence produced will be of a higher quality as compared to if we eat which is not healthy. For example, if you are grabbing just a pizza, because right now this grabbing food has become so common, like people have just they're in so rush and hurry, they eat whatever that comes in their way. So that is not which should be done. So we all know what is definition of health. So I'm not going into this. I will be dealing about heal your gut and heal your brain. So how do you think like we can heal our gut, and what connection does it has when in terms of building our immunity? So Hippocrates, he has said that all diseases begin in the gut. Heal your gut and heal your brain. We often ignore and give a thought to a digestive process, unless, of course, it calls out to us with stomach pains, gases, bloating, heartburn, constipation, or other uncomfortable symptoms. Even modern doctors have their mindsets when dealing or addressing these non-gut issues like arthritis, autoimmune disorders, chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression, and even ironically gastrointestinal disorders like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, IBS, etc. The modern doctors, they have a view that diet has nothing to do with your condition. However, fortunately, this blind eye is getting an eye to gut health and is changing rapidly. Your health of the digestive system is key to the whole body health. And food is the best medicine in Ayurveda. And real healing starts with establishing good digestion. So, as we all know that this whole entire digestive system is made of trillions and millions of microbes. So these bacteria basically they are constantly communicating with our brain. 39 trillion hardworking bacteria, which is a number more than total number of cells in our bodies. They are basically residing in our gut. So you can imagine like how intense and how a critical process is going inside our gut. Our gut bacteria are conversing with our brain, which influences our hormone production, metabolic function, neurotransmitter balance, and most importantly, immunity and our levels of inflammation. This term, levels of inflammation and immunity, is what we'll be talking about. That this inflammation, when it happens to in our gut, it results into a lot of diseases which we can't even think of have been originated from our gut. It need not be a digestive disorder. It can be your skin issues. It can be autoimmune disorders. So everything starts from gut. So now, how important this gut bacteria or how important this gut health is important, like, is very important for us to maintain this gut health, because it is affecting us in mental aspect, in physical aspect. So now it has also been referred as second brain. Why? Because there's an entering nervous system which spans from mouth to anus. There are millions and trillions of neurons which are housing in this GI tract, and which is 5 times greater than the neurons which is in a human spinal cord. So digestive system does plays an intimate role in our moods, in our memory and thought processes. 90% of serotonin, this is a neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of well-being and happiness. And 50% of our body's top dopamine, which is another neurotransmitter that sparks motivation, addiction, and reward-driven behavior, is manufactured in our guts. So now you can see that when you are stressed, or when you're eating while you are stressed, how it affects our brain, how it affects our digestive system. Because if you are stressed, it affects our system. And when our digestive system is affected, ultimately the absorption process, the assimilation process is affected, and the nutrients which are supposed to get absorbed in our intestine, they don't get absorbed. And the essence which is produced by the ultimate metabolism is not happening. There's a bidirectional highway going on. There's a direct connection between the brain and the gut via vagus nerve. We all know the importance of vagus nerve, how it is important. So this brain and gut are directly connected. They are constantly talking to each other, constantly they are in motion. Thus, gut health is the key to brain health. And how you can attain this brain health? By eating, by modifying your lifestyle, by thinking good, by not stressing upon like what is going to happen next or what is going to happen now, because stress ultimately affects the digestive system. Now we have understood what gut microbiome is. It's basically a lot of trillions of microbes residing in the diversity of microbes residing in our gut. There's a condition called as leaky gut. So it is not something like something is leaking from your digestive system. No. So this intestinal flora is tightly packed. So you can see in the image that the normal junctions, they are tightly packed. So the pathogens or the toxins, they're not allowed to go in the blood. There's a permeability, or there is basically, I would say, a sieve that only particular things are allowed in the blood, and not all other things are allowed. But when we take improper diet, or we have certain allergies to food, or stress, or we are taking a lot of NSAIDs, or we are taking a lot of antibiotics, steroids, aspirin, this, or for instance, alcohol also. So what happens is that when this episode is happening, like occurring many a times, this intestinal, there is a permeability, or these junctions, they get open. So this is a condition where the lining of the small intestines becomes damaged, loosening the spaces between cells and causing undigested food particles, toxic waste products, bacteria to enter the bloodstream. So now you can imagine like what's going in your blood. So if this happens, the toxins go into the blood, inflammation rises, there's a attack of immune responses, which may result into autoimmune disorders, which may result into skin disorder. There has been researches like in Ayurveda, it has mentioned, like the rishis and acharyas have mentioned that amasya, or I would say the gut, is responsible for all the diseases. If you keep your gut healthy, the diseases are not going to happen. Now modern researchers and people like the modern scientists, they are doing researches, and they are also accepting this fact that gut is responsible for all the diseases emerging in the body. If even the skin disorders are linked to somewhere unhealthy gut. So how do we know that our gut is leaking? I mean, I would say we have unhealthy gut. So if you have frequent and chronic stomach discomfort, frequent and chronic means that you're having regular episodes of diarrhea, you're having regular episodes of constipation, you're having constantly benching, you're having constantly vomiting, you're constantly, and this has to be a constant process, because acute is fine, but this is happening on and on basis, then you must pay attention. There is something wrong going on in your gut. Because this gut microbiome, that plays a very important role in deciding if we'll be obese, if our mental health status will be good, or immune status will be good, or our risk to autoimmune disorders. If you have excessive sugar craving, so what happens in that, when the absorption process doesn't go well in the your digestive system or the microbes, they don't absorb well because you also have to feed them, right? So what happens is that if they're not getting adequate food for them to survive, so there is a production of particular kind of bacteria, or I would say, for example, if you say there is the colonies of yeast increases in the digestive system, so you're more prone to excessive sugar craving, the skin disease, as I mentioned that. The researchers are proving now that unhealthy gut leads to the formation or leads to eczema and psoriasis. Fatigue, yes, because if you're not able to absorb the nutrients, the body is kind of deprived of those, and we feel fatigue on and off. Instead of like, uh, I would say, in spite of you being in a diet and everything, if the gut microbiota is not good or there is not a diversity of microbes in your gut, there will be issues related to fatigue. Mental health issues, yes, because you'll be stressed because it is directly linked to our brain. Then if you see, like, despite of if you haven't made any changes in your lifestyle, or if you haven't made any changes in your diet, and still you see there are weight fluctuations, this happens because of unhealthy gut, because there is improper sugar absorption, improper blood sugar levels are maintained. There's a improper fat metabolism, which may lead to weight fluctuations. So now we have understood like what is unhealthy gut, what are signs and symptoms of unhealthy gut. So now we'll more deep dive into Ayurveda, that why does it happen? Because this there is some reason, or there has to be something which tells us like why this unhealthy gut is happening. So there is something called as aama, or metabolic toxins. So this aama is a product of indigestion formed in the stomach, which tends to cause many systemic diseases. So when there is a lot of aama production in our body, obviously there will be a lot of metabolic waste, which this metabolic waste will also affect the lumen of the intestine. This also will affect the health of the microbiota, because we have to feed those also. Otherwise, they'll start eating your cells because they also have to be fed well. I'll be discussing about how you can maintain that healthy gut, but that will be later. Right now, let's focus on aama, metabolic toxin. So this is very sticky in nature. Because of its sticky nature, it is responsible for many blockages. So how you can imagine, if a tube, just for example, there's a tube and you coat it inside, right? And in the same way, if the lumen is coated with some sticky material, and that lumen has to absorb the nutrients, but there is a sticky material before the absorption process is going to take place. So instead of absorbing the nutrients, it's going to absorb the metabolic waste, which will go into your bloodstream. So that undigested metabolic waste, when goes into bloodstream, it acts as foreign material for your immune mechanism, and they start attacking the cells. They start attacking that foreign material, and there it leads to the autoimmune responses and other inflammatory diseases. This is a state of indigested food. The process of digestion has been stopped and doesn't go further, so that the essence can be absorbed. It is raw, it is uncooked, it is immature, undigested, and incompletely formed product of digestion, which is formed in stomach. And thereby it weakens our immunity and thus affects our ojas. So how is this achieved, or how can we limit the formation of metabolic toxins? So there is a thing called as Jataragni, or digestive fire. If our digestive fire is good, if our Jataragni is good, the metabolism which will take place at the end level, and the essence will be absorbed properly. So the agni, which in Ayurveda we call as agni. You can imagine, like in your kitchen, when you diminish your cooking, when you are diminish your gas stove, the cooking process stops or slows down. And when you increases that the gas stove, the cooking process starts immediately, and it happens like very fast. In the same way, if the agni, or the digestive fire in a system, diminishes, the digestion process is affected. The absorption process is affected, which may result in formation of metabolic toxin, which may result in formation of leaky gut, and which may result in the death of healthy microbiota in our system, in our gut. So Agni plays a vital role in digestion and absorption process. So how can we attain, or how can we keep our Agni? By eating healthy. When you are eating, please eat half the capacity. Keep that 1/4 of the liquid food and 1/4 of the movement. Because if you are too full, or you're eating towards your, I would say, more than your satisfaction, there is no space for the churning of the food to take place. There are simple things which have been mentioned, like you can eat a slice of ginger, adding a rock salt with it 30 minutes before your meal. If you see that your digestion is slightly affected, this is for people who are recently noticing the changes in their digestive system, but who have the chronic, they have to take the help of the specialized doctor or the Ayurvedic physicians. Decoction of shunti or the dry ginger or salt. If like you see that in a day or two you're feeling too full, or you're feeling like the fullness in your stomach, so what you can do is like langan or fasting is mentioned in Ayurveda. So throughout the day, you can just make a decoction of this dry ginger and have it, and keep your system low, or just don't eat. So your body or the your system gets time to metabolize the undigested product which is there in the body, and thereby creating a safe and healthy environment. Eating according to seasons. Now we all eat whenever we want to. Like winters is like a season of eating, like because the enzymes become active, and people are like, so many marriages and like people like they dive into the plate is full of like food, you know. So we don't eat according to a season, we don't eat according to the lifestyle mentioned in Ayurveda. If we follow that, there's a sure thing that we don't fall into trap of the diseases, because our immunity is intact. So how can you improve that immunity? So now we have known that gut's good bacteria, it neutralizes 40% of the toxins we consume in our food. So it is kind of a satellite labor. So we have to maintain that gut healthy. We have to maintain our digestive fire. We have to keep that kindle, and we have to stoke the digestive fire. And also we have to eat according to our body. Every individual is different. Maybe like this carrot is good for me and it cannot be good for the other person. This is what Ayurveda is. It is not a one for all approach. It's a customized approach. So you have to seek what your constitution is, what your body type is, what your prakriti is. So if you know what your prakriti is, and if you know how to act according to your prakriti, you will be able to maintain a good lifestyle, and you will be able to keep yourself healthy. So there are three tripods, which in Ayurveda we call as ahar, nidra, and brahmacharya. Ahar is what we eat, food what we eat. Nidra is sleep. Yes, sleep is also important. So brahmacharya is celibacy, but over here we'll be talking about how you can control on your excessive cravings. Following code of conduct, Dinacharya and ritucharya. Dinacharya is a daily regimen which we follow, and ritucharya is a seasonal regimen. According to season, what happens? We'll be dealing in detail. It is coming in for the presentation. And there are timely purification panchkarma therapies. So there are seasons which have been allotted in Ayurveda, where you can consult an Ayurvedic physician and get yourself through a panchkarma process. So spring and autumn are the most common seasons where there you can have your panchkarma, you can have your cleansing therapy. So you can consult your physician, like what kind of therapies is suitable for you. And there are rejuvenating therapies, which I just mentioned. These are the purification therapies. Maintaining a proper digestive power. Yes, this is really important, because if you don't maintain it, it ultimately affects or disturbs your entire equilibrium of the body. Rasayan, there are so many rasayans. The most common is like you can have, like now the winters have kind of gone, but still like amla, if it is available in India, you should start taking that, because it is called as Nam, means it helps you in rejuvenating, and it helps in maintaining your good age. So these are the beverages. You can see that later, or I'll come back to that later. So now we'll see what are the tips which can be attained, how we can improve our digestive process, how we can improve your absorptive process. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, we always talk about Agni. We just mentioned that. And that to Agni is a digestive fire. When should you be paying attention to your digestion? I would say every single person all the time. And especially if you're struggling with digestive issues like Crohn's disease, IBS, or leaky gut, or colitis. So there is thing, eat when hungry. Now we have a thing that people are so bound to the routine that even if they're not hungry, it's like, oh, it's lunchtime, I have to eat my lunch. It's my snack time, I have to eat my snack. And it's my dinner time, I have to eat my dinner. So eat, don't eat when it is scheduled to eat. Eat when you are really hungry. Because if you are eating according to your schedule and not when your body is giving you a signal that you're hungry, the brain doesn't send signals to secrete digestive enzymes. So now you know that if there are no enzymes, if there are no digestive juices in our stomach, the food which we'll be eating will not be digested. It will stay there as a incomplete digested food or a metabolic waste, which will further lead to aama formation and which will lead or start a pathway which can also lead to food sensitivity. Now ignite your agni. There are different ways, as I mentioned, that you have to stoke your digestive fire because it is directly proportional to what you're eating and directly proportional to the metabolism. Heavier quantity and quality should be avoided. There are so many diets now which have become famous, like paleo diet, keto diet. I don't know, so many fad diets are there. So make sure if you're having those basically diet, or if you're following those diets, your digestive fire is kind of really high. Because if you are taking a high protein diet or a high fat diet, these are very high quality food. For that to digest, your digestive fire should be really in a good condition, should be really high. So you can have, before your meals, you can have a little bit of ginger and rock salt. You can, people who are prone to eat that animal food. So Ayurveda is not about vegetarian, it's about eating healthy. So meat and everything, but you have to eat in a proportion, or have to see where your digestive fire is, because your body gives you signals when your system is not acting well, because either you have indigestion or you have repeated episodes of passing the bowels, or you have belching, acidity, heartburns. But do consult your physician also, because there might be other underlying diseases which you might get ignored. Rest and digest. So why I just mentioned that people are in so much rush that they are eating whatever they want to. They're running and eating. So the brain doesn't, basically the brain gets confused, like, do I have to run, or do I have to eat, or do I have to send signals for running or eating? So in our body, there are two systems, parasympathetic systems and sympathetic nervous system. So digestion requires parasympathetic system, and your stress requires sympathetic system. So when you are stressed and eating, so your body can function only at one time. Either it will help in combating the stress, or it will help in digesting the food you're eating. So if you're doing both the things together, either of the system will act. So either you will be affected mentally or you will be affecting physically. So you have to decide how you have to control your system. You have to control your body. So please don't eat while you are stressed. Don't run and eat. Rest, take a deep breath for a while, forget everything, because when you're eating, just focus on eating. Because when you're focusing, your body is also focusing, your brain is also focusing, sending the signals and digestive enzymes. Eat good, eat warm. So because why it is said that you nowadays, like the cold foods, the cold sandwiches or smoothies have become very popular, and like people are fantasizing with, oh my goodness, can you tell me this recipe of smoothie? So early morning, don't start your day with the frozen smoothies, because in the night your digestive system is kind of sluggish, slow, and in a resting phase, right? When you get up, and the digestive system, the environment, it operates at certain temperature and certain pH, which is not the cold environment, it's a warm environment. So do not tax your digestion when in the early in the morning. Have something warm, eat warm breakfast and fresh breakfast. Eat good fats and optimal quality. So too much of healthy is also not good. Too much of healthy food is not good. I would say that, because, for example, if you take an example of, like, people are having avocado on egg. Egg is another fat, and avocado is another high good in fat content. So when you take that together, your body kind of gets full. The body kinds of get it's like heavier on your system, so it is difficult to digest. And you must also have feel that when you have felt that when you eat avocado and egg together, or eat those food, you kind of feel heavy. Then there is a thing called as incompatible foods, or virudh ahar in Ayurveda. So there are so many food combinations which should be avoided. For example, fish and milk should not be taken together. Mango and mango shakes are so common in summers. They are no according to Ayurveda. Sour fruits and milk, they don't go together. So if people are taking strawberry shakes, which is very common in US. Like I've told so many people over here, but they don't listen, because they are, and then they face the outcome. So better you get aware, better pay attention to your health, and follow these guidelines than to fall into trap of the disease. Make lunch your biggest meal. So because it is said that during this time the pitta is high, the digestive fire is high. So we have a saying that eat the breakfast should be like king, and then like a normal man your lunch should be, and like a beggar or pauper you should have your dinner. So eating like a king doesn't mean that you have a huge plate of like so many meals. Eating like a king is like you have to take meals, or you have to take the breakfast which is good in nutrients and in small quantities, because you're starting your system, sorry, you're starting your day. Lunch, because the digestive fire is high at its peak, because sun is also high, so basically your environment and your body are basically they are kind of in the same rhythm. So make lunch your biggest meal and enjoy your meal, because if you're stressing while eating, you won't be getting the fruits which you are supposed to. Why it is not going? I think it's kind of got hung. Shiva, can you see? I cannot see. My slides are not going further.
Okay.
So now we'll be discussing about Dinacharya and Ritucharya. 1 minute. It's not moving forward.
Can you stop sharing your screen and start again? Maybe that will help.
Sure. All right. So now we'll be discussing about Dinacharya. Dinacharya is the daily routine. It's a daily guideline. Basically, it's a diary, like to do notes, what to do, what not to do. So there is like from morning to the time you go to bed, there's a series of events which have been mentioned. So I won't be going in detail because it says brushing your teeth and oil pulling and everything. I'll be just giving you basic guidelines of what you have to do. So as you can see in this chart is that when you get up, 6 to 10 a.m. is your kapha phase. So this is the phase when you have the reserve energy, the potential energy, and the body is basically in a very relaxed phase. The best time to do your exercise. So your Ayurveda also recommends exercising in the kapha time. That is between 6 to 10 a.m. morning and evening, with morning being ideal. Because during this time, the body tends to be more stable, resilient, and possibly a bit sluggish. This is when you will benefit the most. Even the researchers now, there has been a study which I was basically seeing the other day, that people with early hypertension, so there is a blood pressure drop during sleep in relation to what time of the day do you exercise. So people who exercise between 6 to 10 a.m. and like more importantly at 7 a.m., they have the drop in the systolic blood pressure and they have better sleep. For people who exercise at between 12 to 2 p.m., there's nothing, there is no significant difference in the blood pressure. But people who exercise between 5 to 10 or 5 to 8 p.m., they have a little drop in systolic, but there is a significant drop in systolic blood pressure when you exercise in the morning time. So Ayurveda has said that after lunch, rest a while, and after dinner, walk a mile. Better to eat and rest at lunchtime resting doesn't mean that you just go and lie down because of the work from home process. People are just putting their laptop on a snooze mode and they are going to sleep. Rest is like you just on your chair, just you take a break of 10 to 15 minutes. That is the rest, not like sleeping for an hour. Exercising in the morning gives the greatest blood pressure drop. So this is the best time to do your exercise. 10 to 2 p.m. is the best time to have your food. Lunch, basically, I would say your biggest meal of the day, because this is time the digestive fire and the sun both are at its peak. So best time to have your food. Then 2 to 6 p.m. is your vata phase where you can relax, calm down. Then again, this kapha and pitta and vata phase starts. So I'm not going deep into this. I'll be taking certain topics which are important. So as we are dealing with COVID and immunity, so as we all know that virus gets active only when it gets an entry. So the most common pathway is nasopharyngeal pathway, where the virus is acting, and this is the time where we have to take preventative measures, or we have to take actions. So nasal passage and mouth are the most entry points. And as we all know, the virus multiplies in nasal epithelium. So there's a natural vaccine in Ayurveda. I won't say that it lasts forever, but if you're stepping out of the house, you can just take those, which is called as nasyam. So you can just put, like, nasyam is like putting the drops of oil in your nasal cavity or in your nose, in your nostrils, basically. And gandusha is nothing, just the oil pulling. So this oil pulling is like when you are brushing your teeth, after that do oil pulling. So that oil pulling can be done with neem water, which, as we know, that it is highly antiseptic. Turmeric, it's anti-inflammatory, and turmeric, as we all know, has become really popular. And over here in US, like this curcumin, the active ingredient of turmeric, the people are so crazy about this that they are taking in any form. Like they have started putting in their meals, they have started taking tablets. And this is something like which we have been using in our kitchen also. I'm just giving you examples of what you can have in your kitchen rather going outside to seek help. So the gandusha is nothing when you put, I would say, a liquid in your mouth and you keep it there for some time, squishes, and then you just spit it out. So sometimes is like what you can do is you can count till 20, and then you can just spit the whatever like decoction you have taken. And if you can, like people, if you can take a little bit of coconut oil also. People do take who are allergic to coconut oil. For them, sesame oil is a good option too. Anuthalam is said to be highly effective. It prevents upper respiratory tract disorders. It helps you preventing the allergies. In Ayurveda, there is a term called as Ritu Sandhi. When you are transitioning from one season to another, those 15 days period is, if you can take control of that, or if you can take charge of that period, so you won't fall into the trap of allergies. For people who are susceptible to allergies, over here there are pollen allergies are most common, or people who have the conditions like sinusitis or other upper respiratory things, they can take the nasyam with anuthalam early morning, and you have to take anuthalam in the kapha phase between 6 to 10 a.m. So 2 drops in either of the nostrils daily. You can take this daily. So now, as we have understood, like what Dinacharya is and what we can do to prevent this entry of virus, and please don't just take this vaccine, this natural vaccine, because this is only when you're stepping out of the house. Do take your vaccine if you haven't taken, because that is something which will also prevent you. So yes, I forgot to discuss about nidra, sleep. Why sleep is important? As we know that our brain naturally produces melatonin at night, but only if it is dark. So people who are exposed to light, especially, keep your blue lights away, because sleeping mechanism is when your reserve starts into action. Your body tends to produce a reserve. The anabolic functions of the body start when you're sleeping. So please, if you are so addicted to the blue light, I can tell you that these blue lights affects the production of melatonin. And if melatonin is affected, you will tend to get sleep problems, or you will get deprived of sleep. You can massage your scalp with coconut oil. If you have the sleep problem, you can take warm bath, or you can just put your feet in warm water. It also helps in inducing good sleep. But yes, please take off your blue light. What you can do is that before going to sleep, 1 hour before, just keep your phone away. And after waking up, just keep your phone away. So these 2 hours, if you can maintain and keep yourself away from blue light, it will help you. Slowly and slowly, gradual changes will help. Then I was reading somewhere, there is a time called as Kali Yama. This is a time block. I was reading one doctor's article, and he has mentioned about Kali Yama. So Kali Yama is a time block between 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And this is the time when your rest and repair mechanism is happening. So if your work condition permit, or if your routine allows, please try to sleep before 10 p.m. You should be sleeping like a dead between this period, because if you're sleeping like a dead in this period, the rest and repair mechanism is at peak, and your body is going to a lot of transformation phases during. And also the melatonin is highly available in this period. And modern researchers are also kind of admitting to this fact that yes, the melatonin helps, and there is a kind of production of melatonin during this period. So please don't miss out this Kali Yama period. So now we will come to ritucharya. As I had mentioned in my previous slide, that we should eat according to our seasons. So why we should eat according to our season? So, if you get linked to the nature, if you act with the nature, you will be surprised to see that you won't fall, like you won't be be a victim of diseases, or be a victim of all the pathologies which are happening. So there are 6 seasons according to Ayurveda. So the seasons in which the digestive system or the digestive fire at it peaks, or which promotes strength, is your rainy season, autumn, and your winter. So now we have passed this season. We have come into spring, which is Uttarayan also, as you all know that Basant Panchami or Uttarayan. See, everything is like linked to nature. So during this season, whatever, these are the seasons depleting strength. The digestive fire is low during this season. So if you continue living the lifestyle which you have been doing in this winter, and continue eating the food in the spring, so you can see what is going to happen and what effect it is going to give on your system. Because as you mentioned, that if your digestive fire is low, or your system is not working properly, and if you're eating heavy food, it doesn't get digested properly. It stays there, it gets fermented and converts into metabolic waste. So we have to act according to our season. We have to behave with the nature. We have to go in sync with the nature, because if we do so, we'll see what will happen. So in this today we'll be talking about the spring, because the spring is arriving, and especially this March and April month. How can we adapt to a simple lifestyle where we can have maximum benefits? So please take note of this seasons. This is really important. This what are the season which is promoting strength, because in winter the environment outside is cold, right? And these are the seasons which promote strength. These are seasons with depleting strength. So please, in summers and spring, like people have to really take control of the diet. People have to take control of their lifestyle. So I will just give simple lifestyle guidelines which you can follow to maintain a good seasonal regimen. As we all know that we have been eating so much, the kapha, there's a lot of kapha accumulation in our body. And in spring season, it starts melting. So when it starts melting, it kinds of clogs the digestive system also. That there is a layer which is built. So best season to go for panchakarma therapies. For even the people who are kapha dominant, they can go to Vamana and other therapies. But yes, please do consult your Ayurvedic physician. Don't do it anything on your own. So in Vasant or in spring ritucharya, the digestive fire slows down. You have to eat dry, and the light foods which rich in bitter, taste, pungent taste, and astringent. So bitter is like the parval, the pointed gourd, the bitter gourd, and the neem. And then there's a huge list which is available. And then pungent, as I told you, the dry ginger, you can start taking decoctions of dry ginger, or you can start taking decoction of dry ginger as a herbal tea. It will help in boosting your digestive fire. Haritaki, Haritaki, as we know, Harad, it is called as the mother of all the herbs. So you can start taking Haritaki as a preserve also. Please avoid sweet, sour, and salty foods. People who are, you have had winters, you've had time to enjoy. So now you have to start acting according to season and start listening and pay attention to your health. Nastyam is a remedy of choice for this season because upper respiratory tract disorders are very common during this season. So Nastyam is the uh, good way you can just start, putting the 2 drops of anuthelam in both the nostrils. Muleti tea, it is another, you can have a decoction of muleti tea. I mean, you can have your herbs of choice. These are just examples which you can include. Exercising to the half of your limit, I would say, is in the summer season, but in spring season is the best time to exercise. You can include pranayama and Surya Namaskar. Pranayama is because it is good for the upper respiratory tract, and it basically strengthens your lung capacity. There are some asanas which helps in stimulating digestive fires, like Bhujang. I think the spelling is wrong. Sorry, Bhujangasana, Trikonasana, Paschimottanasana. These asanas, if you can bring into practice, but yes, please learn it. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it on your own. These asanas, they help in stimulating digestive fire. Haritaki and honey. So you can take honey, but people who are diabetic, they should be cautious enough before taking honey. But honey acts as elixir, and the combination of haritaki and honey acts as an elixir in this Vasant ritucharya. Also, ghee, as I have mentioned, that don't take too much of good foods together. Ghee has its own properties, good properties, and honey has its own good properties. But when ghee and honey are taken together in equal quantities, it acts as a poison in your system. So don't take them together. And also don't take honey with very hot water. It acts as a poison. And yes, I forgot to tell about what are the few things which you can also, in terms of food, which you can have uh, in maintaining your leaky gut, is like have a diversity of food. So in Ayurveda, it is mentioned that your food should be good, like rich in 6 rasa. It's madhur, amla, lavan, katu, tikta, kashaya, sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, astringent. So the balanced diet means that your plate should be comprising of all these 6 tastes. So this is diversity, because there's a diversity of microbes or microbiota in our system. So this, when you give diversity of food, it acts, your food, your bacteria or the microbiota feeds on them, and basically you're making them, if they are healthy, you are healthy. Then you can have probiotics and prebiotics. So probiotics, the difference between probiotic and a prebiotic. Probiotic, it has a live bacteria in it, good bacteria. And prebiotic, it doesn't have a live bacteria, but it does have a lot of fiber intake, which acts as a food for your microbes. In fact, they help in the growth of beneficial microbes. So probiotic, there are a lot of probiotics available in the market, but why go in the market when you have everything in your home? The yogurt, basically curd. So in spring, curd should be avoided. So what you can do, like now you must be wondering, I'm saying curd should be avoided, and on the other hand, I'm saying curd, you should take curd when you are having the issues related to the leaky gut. So you can have buttermilk instead of curd during spring season and during summer season, because intake of curd is contraindicated in spring and summer season according to Ayurveda. Then we can have kanji, but right now you can have it. Avoid in summer because it causes a lot of dryness. So there are other options, like best is buttermilk, you can have it. And then there are prebiotic. Our body, our nature, or the kitchen has given, like idlis, dosas, which are naturally fermented and which have natural prebiotics in that. Banana is also considered as a good prebiotic, which has inulin and acts as a food for beneficial bacteria. Then foods like rice, potatoes, sago, they have the resistant starch, which also acts as a food for the microbiota. So yes, you can have the practices of the dry powder massage, because the kapha is really, really high during this period. It rejuvenates your skin and it prevents from skin allergies. So you can just take that green gram powder, which is called as green moong. You can use it as a basically a herbal pack, and you can do a dry powder massage with that. Daytime sleep is contraindicated, especially in this season, but daytime sleep is allowed in summer season because your body is dry, very dry, and vata is high during that season. So it kind of gives a little slashma, I would say, a little soothing environment of the moistness during to your system, and it avoids dryness. So daytime sleep is contraindicated in spring, but it's allowed in summers. Yogurt should be avoided and instead have buttermilk. So this is all I have to say today. Any questions or any concerns? So I would say this is the best time. I would just conclude with this few things, that keep in mind that balance is a dynamic state, and what is right for you may change day by day, season to season, after travel, trauma, or surgery, according to age and from other factors. So your body's own intelligence is the ultimate Ayurveda. So start listening to your body, start acting according to it, stay healthy, stay well, and stay fit, and maintain your good immunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Archana. Thank you for
Thank
the
you so much.
thank you
Yes.
so much for the wonderful presentation.
Mhm.
We'll move to the Q&A section of the session today, right
Right.
after a poll. So I'm going to launch a poll right now.
Mhm.
And once we finish with that, we can start having the Q&A. So
Sure.
request everyone to raise your hands if you want to ask any questions to Dr. Archana, or you can just put them on the Q&A section also, and I'll have your questions answered. Also request everyone to please take the poll. There's a poll right in front of you on the screens. Please take the poll. Your feedback matters to us. Okay, while people are answering the poll, Dr. Archana, there's
Yes.
we see a raised hand from Dheeraj. I would like to move him to the panel and he'll ask you a question. Would that be okay?
Yes. Sure.
Dheeraj, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes. Sure.
Dheeraj. Loud and clear.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can hear
doctor,
you.
my question is that what to do when you feel like you're means not able to concentrate, or like means you want to do something but you are not able to do because of means you feel like dizziness or your headache or some sort of tiredness in your body, though everything is fine, tests are and everything is okay, there is no problem at all. So is there anything we can do to include in our diet so that brain can be more active or something? I don't know, miss.
So how do you think everything is okay?
I have gone through the test. I have
Mhm.
this complete body test and everything, and then I visited doctor and they said everything is fine. I don't know why you are feeling. Maybe it's psychological or something, or maybe you are doing something wrong in your food. I'm
Are you getting episodes of indigestion like constipation,
no,
bloating,
no,
acidity? No.
no,
Have you got your allergy testing done?
no, no,
Food
not
allergy
a
testing?
no,
So
no.
I would say, like, there are times like when we feel like everything is going on. Just I mentioned that it can be related, it can be not, cannot be related, but your gut is linked to your brain. So maybe there are some allergies. I'm not sure if, like, I mean, it can be, it cannot be. So before coming to a conclusion or before guiding you anything, I would say just go through allergy testing.
Okay.
And are you maintaining good lifestyle? Are you eating properly according to your constitution?
Yes, I think so, because before 7, I try to finish my take proper sort of this thing, and I regularly do walk and yoga meditation. I try my level best, but still it is like when I want to do something, like I don't feel like doing, because maybe I feel that my there is heaviness in my head, or the main reason I think I cannot sleep properly in night means somebody's like the dog is barking. I immediately I wake up, and I don't know why. So this is the thing, maybe because of my improper sleep schedule or something. So
Yes, because this when you're not sleeping properly, also the rest and repair mechanism is not working. So when that is not happening, it ultimately affects your daytime schedule also. So maybe I can send you a questionnaire where your prakriti can be identified, and if you know your body constitution, there are few things or there are few foods which might not be good for you. They are healthy. For example, I mentioned the carrot may be healthy for me but not healthy for you. So there are certain foods also which are healthier but they are not good for your constitution.
okay,
So I can help you in that. Don't worry. So maybe you can ask my number, or you can take from Mr. Shiva, and then I can send you a questionnaire, and we can talk in detail about that. Like I'll just guide you with your constitution. If you know your constitution, let's see if we make those changes and if it is affecting or not. And yes, please try to. I mean, dog barking. I don't know, because that's really a common phenomenon in India. So it's somewhere or the other your mental thing is affected. So let's go through the basic process of finding a constitution and then working according to it.
sure, that will be great help. Thank you very much. I will
You're
connect
welcome.
with Shiva later on. Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Sure.
Dheeraj. We will connect after the session. I'll share all the required details with you.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see another this question. One question is there: can brinjal be taken with milk? No, it is not a good combination. And then because they both have their different mode of digestive mechanism, so when they taken together, it might lead to digestive issues. Yes, I mentioned that fish cannot be taken with milk. No, it cannot be taken with curd or raita because both are high in protein, and it is believed that combination of high proteins can lead to indigestion and skin issues. I hope I've answered.
Sure. Thank you so much, Doctor. We'll take the next question from Devasmita. Devasmita, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Devasmita, can you hear me?
I can see a lot of questions.
I think Devasmita also posted a question on the Q&A group. Says
Yeah, I'm just seeing.
how to prevent catching cold. My mother is unable to use cold therapeutic Ayurvedic oils or anything cold.
I mean, what is she? What her mother is having?
Uh, she says how to prevent catching cold. My mother is unable to use cold therapeutic Ayurvedic oils or anything cold.
So what you can do is that anuthelam, if you can use that, it helps in preventing the cold. And anuthelam is not cold in potency, so you can have two nostrils each in like two drops in each nostrils. It helps in preventing cold. Plus, you can start having certain decoctions or you can make certain there's a mustard oil, and if you can heat that mustard oil with methi, fenugreek seeds, and a little bit of garlic in it, that also, if put in nostrils, it helps in preventing cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor, will
And then
take
eat warm, eat light food, and eat according to seasons. Just avoid anything which is like yogurt or dairy. It also affects when you are prone to cold or you are having cold infections. Dairy is something which dairy products should be avoided.
Okay.
Yep.
One more question I have.
Go ahead, Devasmita.
It's like due to my workload and all, I'm not able to, or rather, I won't be able to sleep by 10 p.m. So it happens.
Your voice break, dear. Your voice broke in between. I can't hear you.
Devasmita, we cannot hear you properly. Can you repeat your question? think she has internet connection issues.
So I think her question must be like she's not able to sleep by 10 p.m. Because of her workload. So Devasmita, is not that the rest and repair mechanism doesn't happen after 2 p.m. The rest and repair mechanism at its peak and in its highest probability in 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m., 2 a.m. But yes, the rest and repair mechanism does happen like after 2 a.m. also. So don't worry about that you're missing the Kali Amma period, so your body is going to get affected. It might not yield that fruits or that benefits which you're going to get in between 10 to 2, but you do get some benefits.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
I think that was her question. I don't know if she broke in between, so I don't know what was she trying to ask.
I think we'll try and get her.
Yeah, she can send me a text. Yeah. I can just answer wherever.
Sure. We'll do that. And we'll take the next question from Mr. Raghavendra. Raghavendra, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes. I would like to ask, as you said, like everybody has a different body type, and they need to maintain a different type of food accordingly. So could you suggest any book with Ayurvedic book so that we can understand what type of body we have and accordingly have a lifestyle?
So you know what? I can suggest you a book. There's a book called as Life and Longevity by Dr. Robert Svoboda. But when you are assessing, when an individual, like, for example, I as an individual, I'm assessing my prakriti. So when I'm answering that question answers, what happens is that I'm not true to those answering, because we tend to answer what we want to be, or not what we are. So in that respect, the constitution is kind of, it gets affected, like you don't get your true constitution. So when you are trying to assess your constitution, I would say take a help of an Ayurvedic physician, an Ayurvedic doctor, because then you might get a true prakriti. Because if you're doing it on your own, you might tend to get errors, or you might tend to get the wrong prakriti. But yes, there is a book called as Life and Longevity by Dr. Robert Svoboda. It gives you a brief outline, or I would say a detailed outline of what Ayurveda is and how we can maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Sure.
I can mention over here. Wait.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Doctor, also, can you stop presenting so that we can see you in full screen?
Sure. Just a minute. By Dr. Roberts. So I'm just mentioning the name. Okay, stop share. All right.
So, Doctor, we'll take the next question from an anonymous attendee. It says, I have always a reflex after eating meals. What should I eat according to Ayurveda for this?
So first of all, try to find out your constitution, because if you're having recurrent or constant refluxes, that means there is a pathology, or there is a chronic disorder which has been going from long. So this is nothing which can be, this is not something which can be cured in a day or two. So you have to maintain, like, you'll have to follow a deep regimen or a deep, basically, lifestyle. And for acid refluxes, like in general, we tell our patients not to eat arar, not to eat chana, not to eat rajma. All these are heavy foods which increases pitta. If you're having refluxes on and off, you can, like, once every week try to do fasting with that shunthi water. What you can do is, like, 2 to 3 liters of water. You can add a little bit of dry ginger, few coriander seeds, and if you can get giloy, amrita, gochi, these are all synonyms. Just add and make a decoction. Basically, just boil it for 10 to 15 minutes and try digging that water. If you think that with dry ginger you're getting more acidity, you can reduce the amount and you can have a little bit of honey. But I would say first consult, get analyzed, get checked, and then go with any remedies, because this, whatever remedies I've mentioned, they are in with respect to a healthy individual. So please don't follow anything on your own.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
So, Doctor, we have.
I mean, you can avoid like foods like arar, chana dal, rajma, chole, even the fermented foods also. For some time you can, like, I know people who are like they have their daily intake of idli dosa. So people who are having acid reflux, they should avoid those food.
Understood. Doctor, we have Ananya Krishnan asking, may I know what type of food is preferred in evenings to maintain digestive fire?
Sorry, what are the?
She asks, what type of food is preferred in evenings or should be preferred in evenings to maintain digestive fire?
Okay, so first of all, no heavy meals, no bigger meals in your dinner time. So what you can stick is to like the best. I would say go with moong dal, or if you are or sticking to just little bit of moong dal only. Don't eat salads at night because or fruits at night because they tend to the fruits at night, it produces kapha. Avoid yogurt at night because it causes kind of congestion. And if you are eating, like if you're used to eating like two chapatis, for example, just go with one chapati. So basically reduce the amount to half when you are going for your dinner, and avoid yogurt, avoid salads, avoid fruits after 5 p.m. And yeah, these are all things you can have. And then when you are, so most important thing what you can do is that after having your dinner, just take a small walk or take a stroll for a mile, because during the day when you take your meal, you're constantly active, but when you have your dinner, you tend to sleep, or you tend to be on your couch, so you're not that active. So if to maintain a good digestion, what you can do is that inside your house only, just for 5 to 10 minutes, just take a walk, or if you can go outside, the conditions permit, you can go outside and take a walk 15 minutes. This really helps in boosting your digestive fire and boosting your digestion. And yes, no yogurt at night, no fruits at night, no heavy meals at night. You can stick to like people who are used to salads, they can just steam their salads, or they can add some olive oil, so that becomes more easily digestible.
And also, Doctor, she has a continuing question. It says, is there any spondylosis in Ayurveda? I have, okay. Is there any spondylosis in
Sure.
Ayurveda?
Yeah, I understood. Yes, I'm not an expert in this, but yes, I know few Ayurvedic physicians, doctors who are treating this spondylosis. So, and yes, because in modern sciences, the only treatment they suggest is surgery. But we have different therapies and treatment which does help in spondylosis.
So we have an interesting question next. Most asked question: is there any product available in Ayurveda for weight loss?
No, there is no product in Ayurveda for weight loss. The only product for weight loss is maintaining your Dinacharya and ritucharya. So if you're maintaining days, eating according to the seasons, and eating according to your constitution, and eating what is allowed, and following the Dinacharya, doing your exercises regularly is the only key for weight loss. There is no product as such which will give weight loss. Do Surya Namaskar. That's the Ayurvedic product which will help you in getting weight loss.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And we have another question from an anonymous attendee. It says, food to be avoided for rheumatoid arthritis.
Anything which you think is sticky in nature, or anything which causes blockages of channels, basically yogurt is something which should not be for people with rheumatoid arthritis. They should not consume yogurt.
And the next question is, what are the remedies for recurring skin infections and itching in hidden area?
So first you have to identify the root cause. So I cannot just suggest anything because there is some underlying pathology going on, which is giving rise to the skin disorders or skin allergies. So first that has to be identified, because in Ayurveda we treat the root cause, not the symptoms. Is it fine to take?
Okay, yeah. And
Yes.
another question is, what should be the frequency of fasting? And on fasting, only fruits is to be taken.
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. I'm sorry for the disturbance. So what should be the frequency of fasting? And
so one should fast once a week.
Okay. And on fasting, only fruits can be taken.
No. So if so it is, like for people who have a good digestive system, or if you don't have any underlying pathology, for them, if they fast, so what they can do is that they can fast throughout the day, and during the dinner time they can have just moong dal soup, right? For people who have really and then they can have papaya also, because in between. But people who really have a sluggish digestion, or they feel that their system is really affected and they are having digestive problem, so ideally they should not eat throughout the day. They should just be on that, because fasting means you have to eat really light. So for people who really have a very bad digestive system, or they think that they have got numerous symptoms, they should fast throughout the day and try not to eat anything. But if they feel they are hungry, really hungry, but they can have a very, I would say, thin vegetable soup. And those vegetables, they can just take the Loki soup, because beans and all should be avoided, because they will, since you're in a Langhan process, your vata is also high during that period. So it might cause more gases. So Loki juice, and you can have a little diluted green moong dal soup also. And you can just add a little bit of black pepper and that sanda or rock salt into it.
Okay. Dr. Murli Krishna is asking, is it fine to take giloy juice on daily, giloy juice daily on
Yes,
empty stomach?
So so this is like in respect to a healthy individual only. Yes, you can have giloy juice daily on empty stomach. 30 ml is, I think, fine to have on a regular
And
basis.
what should be the frequency, doctor?
They can have it daily.
Daily.
Like it is something which is just see, like if you are having episodes of acidity, or you're having something related to it, so you can make it alternate days. But otherwise, I think giloy doesn't cause any problem. It is fine to have daily 30 ml dose, which is the minimal dose one can have.
Doctor, we have a question from Srinivas, who is asking how to increase weight naturally who are slim and diabetic.
So how to increase weight? Then again, this question is like, you have to identify the constitution, you have to identify your body weight, and accordingly only suggestions or advice can be given.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Aniket was asking if there is any Ayurvedic fix remedies for deviated nasal septum, or
No,
surgery is the
unfortunately,
final
no.
solution.
I think surgery. I mean, unfortunately, no. You have to go through surgery, because there are certain things Ayurveda has its limitation towards.
Okay. We have Jigar Shah asking his wife is having headache issues once in a week. So, is there any test that he needs to do?
Has she? Did she get diagnosed? Like, did she consult? If it is not migraine, or there are sometimes like headache associated to digestive disorders also. So that also have to rule out, because sometimes when there is too much of gas production, it also leads to headache. So we have to really keep a watch, or we have to see what we are eating, and identify the food. So these are detailed things. You cannot just say that, okay, have this or have not have that, and you'll be fine. So first consultation, or I would say a history, has to be taken or analyzed.
Okay. Doctor, we have an interesting question from Mr. Krishnamurthy. He says,
I saw that.
impacts of watching TV while eating and watching
Yes.
TV before going to bed.
Yes, because when you are watching TV while eating, your focus, or your focus is on TV. You're not focusing on your digestive system. You're not focusing on what you're eating. You're just eating. So that in that respect, the brain gets confused, right? Whether to focus over here, audio, like visually, or you focus in secreting your digestive juices and enzymes. So please don't watch while eating. It does affect.
Okay. Doctor, we have another question from Uday. He is asking whether it is said that we should eat only twice in a day, And also, milk consumption should not be mixed with any food. Can you please suggest when milk can be drunk?
So, I would say, so if you can mix milk with certain herbs, I would say that cardamom, uh, the, the green cardamom, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of shunti. If taken at night before going to bed, it helps in inducing good sleep also, and it doesn't affect your digestive system also. It basically boosts it. You can have it in the morning because early morning, like between 6 to 10 a.m., but avoid having basically avoid having during in the evening the plain milk. If you can have it with, if you're having milk in the evening, have it with certain herbs like turmeric, cardamom, a little bit of shunti. But in morning, you can have the regular milk because that time your digestive fire or the digestive system has begun, so it will kind of digest. But yes, see if you have any milk intolerance or if you have any digestive issues or I would say respiratory disorders, that time dairy should be avoided.
Dr. Viraj is asking, please suggest some solution for IBS.
Okay, so with IBS, it's a chronic disease, and I would just say that, try to, I cannot give a refined solution of IBS. There are few things contraindicated, there are contraindications, and, there are certain causes which lead to IBS. So I cannot give a short result. As I said, that Ayurveda is not one for all. So you have to have, get yourself detailed or analyzed to get a solution for it.
Doctor, we've answered a question that is asked by Mr. Jigar. He says, so he's come back with a follow-up question, says, for migration, what I think it's for migraine, what type of test do you require? Timings of lunch is about 2:30 p.m. and due to job, and dinner is about 9 p.m. But her immunity is good. So he is the one
Is he
who asked.
talking about? Is he talking about like for his wife?
Yeah, for his wife, for the problem of headaches.
Okay, so like I am not sure. Like basically, the doctor analyzes with the signs and symptoms of what happens during your migraine. So there are different types of headaches associated. There are cluster headaches, and there are so many headaches. So I think you should first get consulted with neurologists. They can suggest you better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Rupa asking, is there any remedies for knee pain, high blood sugar for old age people in Ayurveda?
You know what? Frankly speaking, people like at this old age, because the pathology is it is a really chronic pathology. So I won't kind of misguide. You can have a little bit changes, but if you think that I can just keep myself off from the allopathic medications or modern medications and just go on Ayurvedic medication, it won't help because that is something which maybe it can adverse the situation. There are certain remedies, but at this old age, I would say, please, just stick to what you're having or what you're taking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Doctor, I think there's one last question from Anushri. Can colitis be treated in Ayurveda?
Yes. Yes.
So Rupa has a follow-up question. He says, I've reduced weight. My diet from a month is having ashgard juice around 8, fruits around 10 a.m., some noon rice, evening salads and or soups by 8 p.m. Is there anything which I have to avoid? I do meditation and Surya Namaskar.
Okay. So what you can do is that ashgard is like the white peta, right? Ashgard juice. So having okay. So what you can do, since the spring is arising and this ashgard, it kind of increases kapha. So if you are used to it, just add little bit of black pepper into it before drinking, and don't drink it cool or cold. Just warm it or just keep it at room temperature and drink that. Just add little black pepper, and I think you are you're doing good. Avoid salads in the evening. If you're having salads, just steam them.
Okay. Understood.
Yes.
I think that's all, doctor. These are the questions, and I think we've answered most of them. Thank you so much. I would like to ask Dr. Supreet to give your thank you note. Dr. Supreet, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank
I
you,
want to see her
Shiva.
also.
Thank you, Archana, for your valuable
Thank you,
time. The session
Supreet, for
was
connecting.
really good. And I want to tell my viewers something, that there is something in Ayurveda we call as Brahm Muhurat. So this is a period from 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. early in the morning, which is considered to be good for meditation, for journaling, for, relaxing in the morning. So Dr. Archana today is taking our session from US in Brahm Muhurat. So
I know.
she's walking the talk also, apart from telling us about Ayurvedic guidelines. Thank you, Dr. Archana, again. We
Thank you,
really
Supreet, and
appreciate
thank
you
you,
waking
Shiva.
up so early for us and giving us these valuable information. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was happy. I'm really happy to connect with you all. And it was a nice, wonderful session. And yes, as Supreet mentioned, that in Brahma Muhurat, your brain is also active. So I'm all full charge with energies and everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And one more thing for our viewers, if you have any questions for Dr. Archana, if you want any consultation, you can connect with our wellness team and we will take it forwards from there. We will patch you up with Dr. Archana.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shiva,
Namaste.
for coordinating the session.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We'll meet in the next session on next Friday from 3:30 to 5. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.